So then, some good news for us Warzone fans today. Raven Software, the team now in charge of Warzone, has put out some information last night, some of their plans for what they want to do regarding the weapon balance in this game. This is information that a lot of players have been asking for probably since the FFAR started to become meta back in, what was it, late January, early February, something like that. And I think, or at least I hope, these changes will go a long way to bringing Warzone back into a much more enjoyable position. For the last few months, it's been getting more and more frustrating to play this game sometimes. Now make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on, because over the next week or so, as we finish up Season 2 and we start Season 3, I will be bringing you some more news and update videos, because there's going to be a lot happening. We obviously know there's going to be some kind of event happening, there's going to be a new map in there, probably loads of new POIs to go and visit, there might be new weapons, new mechanics, we don't really know. So there's going to be lots of content you're going to want to tune into over the next week or so. So subscribe and turn notifications on if you haven't already. I will be all over that news about Warzone. Okay, so this news that we've gotten about the weapon balance and a couple of other things, it hasn't come in the traditional form of a blog or an update notice in-game. It came in response to a tweet from Courage JD by Raven themselves. Courage tweeted this big long list of quality of life improvements that Warzone could really do with, and I agree with pretty much every single one on that list. A bunch of issues that are still present in the game as well, and maybe some suggestions about weapon balance along the way. Raven went ahead and responded to that list with a few points about what they're planning to implement into Warzone and what they're going to do to try and fix stuff. They said, "We want to reassure you and the rest of the community that we're constantly on the lookout for ways to improve the game. There are a lot of changes that are coming soon that we think you'll be happy to see." And they go on in another tweet to expand upon that, and they say the first one is an adjustment to the Roze skin. Now, they don't expand or go on to say what that adjustment is going to be, but if we look at the major complaint about the Roze skin, that it's too dark and it blends into dark backgrounds and corners, I think we can make a very safe assumption that that adjustment is going to improve the visibility of the Roze skin. Although I do hope they go a step further and address some of the other darker skins available in Warzone as well. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking like the Captain Price skin or the Nikto skin that has got lots of black and grey all over it. If they could adjust some of those skins as well and lighten them up so that they're not so completely unnoticeable against certain backgrounds or in corners, that would be great. I'm not sure if they will go ahead and do that, because Roze is definitely the one that people complain about all the time, and I die to it more often than I care to admit. So it would be nice if they did something extra, but, you know, the tweet doesn't say that. Next up, they mention a significant balance pass to weapons such as Tac Rifle Charlie, I believe that's the AUG, the M16, the FFAR, and the Sykov pistols. Now, I'm sure you've already noticed the issues with the AUG, the M16, and the FFAR having stupidly low TTKs, leaving you absolutely no time to react in gunfights. The battle is just over before it's even started. If you've got your back turned and somebody shoots you with an FFAR, well, you're dead. There's nothing you can do about it. It's been like that for a couple of months now, so it is good to hear that they're going to be making significant changes, as opposed to some of those smaller changes that they made recently, which, in my opinion, had very little effect on how the guns really played in-game, and they did very little to actually discourage players from using those guns and maybe picking some other weapon options, which, you know, variety. That would be great. Now, they also mentioned the Sykov pistols. They got released on Thursday, just a couple of days ago, and those things are even worse, man. Close quarters, you're talking like a 200 millisecond time to kill using the full auto barrel and the Akimbo perk, which, frankly, it's just an abhorrent experience. 200 milliseconds is about the same sort of time length that it takes for a human to react to something. That doesn't mean they're actually going to do something, that just means they've noticed it and are about to do something. They're like, oh, I'm actually aware of that now. But with the Sykov pistols, note, you're already dead. You didn't even get to react. You were almost killed instantly. It's mental. How this gun even got into the game in that position is frankly beyond me. But Raven has mentioned it here as another of the weapons that they're looking to make significant changes to. And that's really good news, because the sooner they nerf those problematic weapons and they bring them back into line with some of the other weapons in those categories, the better, in my opinion. Warzone, back when it launched in March 2020, it had a TTK of around 650, 750 milliseconds on average in the mid-range. That meant you could react in a gunfight, take cover, play up, and re-engage. It would elongate the gunfight, and that makes sense because you have 250 health. You've got 100 base health and then 150 on your plates. We've now gone down to like 450 with the FFAR, which I thought was pretty ridiculous when that thing first became meta. And now we've got the Sykovs that are like 200, so it's kind of insane how quickly the time to kill has come down. And it's come down even more since the Cold War integration. It's made gunfights and engagements less satisfying, and I think that's directly contributing to lobbies dying off quicker as well. If people are dying faster in those early circles, they're not able to evade, they're not able to take cover, they're not able to play up, they're not able to re-engage because they've already been killed, well, the lobby just dies, and you end up with way less players in those third and fourth circles, and then the mid-game, it's a complete ghost town. So it's great to hear that Raven is going to be addressing these problem weapons, and hopefully we see a return to a longer time to kill in Warzone in the near future. Carrying on with the same tweet, Raven has also said that they've got a fix for almost all the Modern Warfare gun perks not working properly. Lots of people noticed Sleight of Hand was broken after the recent patch, obviously not very good for certain weapons. But it turns out that almost all of the perks don't work properly anymore, which is even worse. So the fact that Raven is going to fix that, solid improvement. And they're also going to be fixing sniper glint for all the Modern Warfare optics again, which is another thing broken in the most recent patch. That's been really annoying recently, being sniped, headshot with a Kar 98, and you had no idea the guy was looking at you. And then lastly, they mentioned changing how you acquire the RCXD in Warzone, which at the moment is sitting at the bottom of the buy station list, leading to a lot of mistakenly bought RCXDs instead of loadouts. They finish with a final note that they have a lot more in store, including some surprises next week, which I think we all know is the nuke event and the new map launching. So that list of changes and updates, it all sounds very positive, and they're changes that Warzone needs, I think. So hopefully this can all be implemented without anything else breaking along the way. But one thing I will say is that Raven, they've got to communicate more consistently about what's happening with Warzone. There are over 100 million unique players on Warzone now. I don't mean 100 million players playing every single day, but 100 million people have downloaded it and given it a go, so that's a huge potential player base there. And sometimes Raven, they update the game, and days, sometimes weeks go by with fairly obvious issues with what they've done. Something's not working right, and there's just radio silence. You've then got a really annoyed player base who want to play the game, but they can't or they won't, because of an issue that isn't being addressed or acknowledged. And that's not good for the health of the game or health of the community either. Also, these tweets that we got today, it's great to see some information coming out, don't get me wrong, but why was that information not put into an official blog, or was it put onto the patch notes for something that's coming? Why was it not properly communicated? Why did these bits of info come out as a tweet reply to a big streamer and not part of an official blog post? I think that's something that Raven could really improve on. It shouldn't take a big streamer or somebody big within the community to reach out to the developers to get some kind of response to what's happening. It should be the developer reaching out to the community and letting them know something isn't right and that they're working on it, or they're aware of a problem and it will be addressed in a future patch. Raven's communication regarding cheaters and the account banning process, those updates recently, they've been really, really good, and they're really appreciated. They come out quite frequently. But they've got to do that in all other areas of the game as well. We're heading into a new season next week. There's this new map coming out. I think it's going to be really exciting. I'm ready to jump in. And I just want to go in positively. And hopefully these changes that Raven has set out will give us that positive experience. They've got a chance with Season 3 to really launch off and set off on the right foot. Get the community back behind them, sort out that TTK mess and the weapon balance issues, fix some of the other major issues with the game, and just assert themselves as a team that has a plan moving forward for the future. Warzone is absolutely awesome when it works right, but for a long time now, it hasn't been working right, and I hope this new map launch can kickstart a period where Raven is fully on top of the game and they can get a few wins in themselves. But thanks very much for watching today. Hope you enjoyed the video, all the information you can get right now about what Raven is planning for the future. And as I've said, if you're not already subscribed, then make sure you do so. Plenty of content coming up over the next week or so as we finish Season 2 and move into Season 3 with that new map or the 1980s inspired Verdansk. Whatever it happens to be, I'm going to be all over it. So subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.